to our special meeting on June 10th at 5 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order at 5:03. Ms. Ramirez, can you confirm a quorum?
Yes, ma'am. All trustees except the mayor are present. We have a quorum.
All right, we'll move to item 2, our safety message, invocation and pledge of allegiance with Ms. Heather Gomez.
I'll review the evacuation procedures so that we are prepared to be safe in the event of an emergency. If you hear the fire alarm, follow the instructions announced through the PA system. If you hear to evacuate, use the glass door to exit outside and verbally alert others. We'll move to the main parking lot in front of the building or the AT&T parking lot at the McCullough-Brooklyn bridges. Our security team will be watching and will notify the appropriate emergency services. Lastly, we'll also have employees nearby who are trained to administer first aid if needed. Safety is a top priority, and while we hope this information is never needed, we want to ensure that we are prepared. Additionally, we ask that you remain seated during the duration of the meeting and keep the aisles clear and do not block exits. Will you please stand with me for an invocation? We thank you for the many blessings you have freely given to each of us. We ask for your presence to guide this meeting of the CPS Energy Board of Trustees. Provide them with the knowledge, compassion, and wise counsel needed as they discuss the business matters on the agenda today. Help us all to remember that we are stewards acting on behalf of our customers and provide us with the grace to serve all the people well. We ask this in your name. Amen. Please now join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we move to item 3, public comment.
Public comment provides an opportunity for members of the public to share thoughts on posted agenda items for this meeting. We invite all pre-registered speakers to speak. They must address the board on CPS Energy related business listed on the posted agenda. Speakers should state their first and last name, the organization or group that they represent, and the agenda item they will speak about. For this meeting, we have 6 in-person speakers. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to speak. Thomas, will you please cue the timer? We will begin with Henrietta LaGrange, followed by Evelyn Michalik.
Thank you, and good afternoon. My name is Henrietta LaGrange. I belong to the Mulberry Street Girl Gang, LULAC, Raza Unida, Growing Up Brown. It is a great opportunity for me to be here today. And I feel like I was told this morning I needed to buy a yellow lei, which represents light. And this light belongs to Mr. Rudy Garza, because he is the light of every day at CPS Energy, and I think it was Wela that told me that I better get it. And Rudy, I think you have to come and get it because I feel like I'm safer in my own place, and you can roam everywhere you want. And this is a Virgencita that says, to protect all of us, because right now it's very difficult for us to be Americans. You know, we're just having a lot of struggles in life, but you know, Rudy, I feel like I love being here, and I'm so glad because I've waited all my lifetime for you to be here, and that is because you're the best director, president, CEO that CPS Energy has had. And I feel like you have always been the missing link because you know how to work your workers, you inspire them, and they believe in you, and you're the only person that will get more work out of them. And I know that because they tell me that you respect them, and that speaks volumes. And I wish I had more time because I love to talk, and especially about Rudy. Love you, Rudy. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Michalik will be ceding her time to Patricia Major. Please put 4 minutes on the timer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, Board. I'd like to say my name is Patricia Major. I'm a 2002 retiree that is a member of the CPS Group Health Plan. I'm also a residential customer with CPS since 1973, and I live in Quadrant 1, which I believe is Dr. Romero's quadrant. She's my representative. I plan to speak today about agenda item number 6, the Personnel Committee reports, and I would like to offer a comment on that. I hope that when you go through the agenda today that you discuss these two reports, especially the one that goes back to March, as they may relate to the topic at hand, which is the CEO's evaluation criteria and actual performance. I also want to speak on agenda item number 7, the CEO's performance overview and vote on the compensation adjustment. Here are some comments from myself and others. Dozens of retirees want the board to know, and I am their spokesperson today, about our thoughts regarding the CEO's performance before you vote today. We believe that the CEO is responsible for developing people and culture for CPS, which should include nurturing employees that have retired after many years of devoted service to the company, community, and the customers, especially since many of us have been outstanding spokespersons for CPS since retiring, and we're providing free public relations because we've been proud of our service to the company. Dozens of us, however, believe that the CEO has fallen short in these areas of people and culture during his years in this position. Communications with retirees has been inadequate for many years. I spoke about this in September 22 when I was here. Access to health plan information, such as documents, is difficult and almost impossible to get it through the website. The CEO appointed a representative for the retirees who has not been helpful to us because this person lives in Dallas, not in San Antonio. In addition, the CEO has not met with retirees at the fall annual open enrollment sessions to discuss the benefits they're being offered. The CEO has not ensured that retirees have had access to the CPS health plan trust and plan documents, the statement of governance, or the plan actuary and other independent audit reports, because these are not posted on the website. The CEO did not direct benefits management to formally survey retirees about their satisfaction with the plan, coverage premiums, or to offer suggestions for improvements for cost savings. We had a meeting at the park in April. We had focus groups, 2 focus groups in May, and he was not at any of these to discuss these major changes. In addition, there's been correspondence about the major health plan change coming up. A letter was sent out in February and another in early June, and he did not sign those letters, a staff person did. These plan discussions have been underway for about 18 months. He approved, as part of the EBOC committee, making this change in January. We believe that this change reflects age discrimination and no longer considers length of service as a recognition factor in paying the premiums. We believe that there's also been overlooked and ignored legal documents that a number of retirees have with CPS concerning the group health plan participation and cost to retirees. Some of these are also known as VERPs. Since discovering this change in February, we have asked the CEO to finish the design but slow down the implementation until all the facts are known to explain to the 1,300 people. We've asked that we be able to keep choice A, option A and B of the current plan, and consider adopting the other one when we feel comfortable doing so. We believe that the CEO has been silent with our request or ask, and this is extending the fears and concerns of retirees. Please consider my remarks on behalf of dozens of retirees in your decision today about the performance. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. We now have Arthur Wilson and Sherian Fillon ceding their time to Mr. Theodore Slansky, so please put 6 minutes on the timer. Thank you.
I am Theodore Slansky Jr., speaking on 2 items on the agenda. The first item of concern is the executive session, Part A, insofar
Mr.
as a
Slansky,
vote.
could you get a little closer to the mic?
Okay. So my first item of concern is Part A of the executive session, insofar as a vote is scheduled to be taken up on item 5A. The next item of concern is item 7, the CE performance overview. There is a major deficiency in the transparency by the CEO and CPS Energy staff to the public, retirees, and current employees. There have also been major deficiencies in responses, information given to the board by individuals of CPS Energy, especially deficiencies in information provided to the board relative to the board's authority and oversight of all matters of CPS Energy. Information that has been conveyed has been glossy, and other relevant and pertinent information is being omitted. As such, I would like to reference the following: the December 22nd board meeting, agenda item 8, governance of benefit plans. Also related are Texas Government Code Section 802 definitions. And thirdly, on that item is the December 2022 board minute meetings with respect to the statement of Mr. John Steen on agenda item 8. I agree with Mr. Steen's statements. It brings up against the transparency issue as it relates to CPS Energy staff's provision of all the relevant information for the board. Not just info that they request, but information that should be proactively provided to the board without the need for the board to request. Furthermore, regarding the approval authority statement by Mr. Steen, I conclude that based on the approvals of the pension and health plans prior to December 22nd through today, there is an issue of compliance with Government Code Title V, Subtitle A, Chapter 551, as it pertains to committees with rulemaking authority, and whether the pension plan and group health plans have been appropriately authorized and or approved. As such, many other facets of Chapter 551 come into relevance. In light of major deficiencies in the responses, information, and the respect given to the board by individuals of CPS Energy, I am asking the board to consider asking for a copy of the open request emails I sent to openrecords@cpsenergy.com for May 22nd through June 4th, and any email I send between now and the June 30th board meeting. And again, it's just a copy of the email, not the information necessarily, just it's open records to the public that I made a request. Lastly, I was born and raised in San Antonio. I am a product of the education and integrity and guidance of the San Antonio Independent School District, San Antonio College, and UTSA. And I am also a retiree of CPS Energy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your input. We now have Isabel Hernandez ceding her time to Daniel Bettis. So please put 4 minutes on the timer for Mr. Bettis.
Good early afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Pettis. I spent more than half my lifetime working for this great company. And lately, we've had some concerns about the proposed changes to our benefits package. I've had former employees of mine call me, very concerned about it. So this relates to transparency. The mere fact that a special meeting being called, and agenda item 7 being on such agenda, I question when the first correspondence between CPS Energy and board members and or the city manager occurred, subsequent correspondence and the individual who called a special meeting. What was the purpose for a special meeting to be called for item 7 before the next regularly scheduled board meeting on June 30th. Also want to let y'all know that I am a CPS customer, have been since I was 18 years old. I've worked for CPS Energy since I was 16 years old. And it's been a great company. I want it to continue to be. The benefits that were established and that was common knowledge to employees was that we'd have this health benefits until the day we died. So my concern is that we want to have a choice. We don't want this pushed down our throat. We want to make sure it's going to be equal to or better than what we currently have. Retirees are on a fixed income. And one package may not work for everyone. We all have different individual circumstances. So we want to make sure that we continue to have that choice. And I'd like for the board to please direct the staff, benefit staff, to look at this closer, give us some more time, give us feedback, and give us some transparency. Lastly, I'd like to recognize my fellow CPS Energy retirees. It's Isabel Hernandez, Ted Slansky, Pat Major, Evelyn Mahalik, back Arthur Wilson, Mr. Fallon, Sharon Fallon, Sharon Wagner, my memory goes, Inez Gutierrez, and John Gutierrez. We're all here to support one another in this endeavor. It's important to us. It's important to many retirees, many who are not here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our last registered speaker is Lawrence Herron. Okay, that's all we have, Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We are on item 4, Chair's remarks. I will make these brief, but we have started the process now for filling the Board of Trustees vacancy, which will occur in January 31st, 2026, for the Quadrant 2 seat that is currently held by Mr. John Steen. So we are seeking applicants. Applicants must submit applications online by 5 p.m. online, via email, mail, or by delivering a hard copy in person here at this building by 5 p.m. on August 29th, 2025. So we have a lot of time. Interested applicants are invited, and this is important, I think, to attend one of 2 informational sessions. Those will be held here, July 9th at 5:30, August 12th at noon, and I will hope to be at both of those, but there will be a lot of information for people who are interested in this position. Those information sessions will also be live streamed, and recordings will be available. So if you can't come, watch them online. You can learn more about the qualifications and the application process at our website, cpsenergy.com/trustee vacancy. This is a great opportunity to serve your community, and we are looking forward to getting a lot of good applications for this. think I'm missing something here. Okay, I will move on. We are actively connecting with customers this summer, so our teams continue to connect with customers at community events across the area. We do want our customers to learn about energy conservation, rebates, and other programs that can help them with their energy use, especially over the summer. We want customers to call energy advisors for bill assistance. Numbers up here, 353-2222, and on the screens you will see the latest schedule of our community resource fairs and small and medium business support fairs. Please join us for these events. All right, that is it for my comments. Ms. Ramirez, will you please bring us into executive session?
Yes, ma'am. At this time, the board is going to recess into executive session to discuss matters that have been duly posted under several provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, including consultation concerning attorney-client matters under Section 551.071, personnel matters under Section 551.074, and to deliberate, vote, or take final action on competitive matters under Section 551.086. It is 5:22, going into executive session.
Will you bring us back into open session?
Yes, ma'am. It is 6:21, and the board has concluded executive session. I can confirm that there were no votes taken and no matters were discussed that were not part of the posted agenda. We have a quorum, and all members are present.
Thank you. Regular agenda item 6 is not a vote. This is simply to report that the Personnel Committee meeting was held on March 31st, 2025, and another on May 21st, 2025. Is there any discussion on that? All right, we will move to item 7, fiscal year 2025 CEO performance overview and vote on compensation adjustment. Ms. Lewis will introduce that item, and Dr. Mackey will take over for this. Oh, late.
Good afternoon, trustees. In accordance with the process, the Personnel Committee met and discussed the performance of the CEO, established the process for input from the remaining trustees to be able to have a conversation about that, and has met again to receive that input from the other trustees. And so today is your opportunity to provide the CEO with that feedback.
Thank you, Vice Chair Dr. Mackey.
Yes, the Board of Trustees met in executive session to discuss the performance of the CPS Energy CEO, Rudy Garza, for the period ended January 31st, 2025. To assess this performance, the board reviewed the CEO scorecard, which include quantitative metrics for customer satisfaction, financial performance, and operational excellence. The board also reviewed his performance on important strategic objectives such as implementing steps to replace the utility 25-year-old software system, increasing grid stability and organization revenue through the operation of newly acquired generation assets, continuous robust strategic planning for the future through the Horizon 2050 efforts. Based on his performance, I move that the board recognize Mr. Garza's fiscal year 2025 accomplishment with an increase to Mr. Garza's base salary effective May 25th, 2025 of 4% from $742,000 per year to $771,680 per year. Further, I move that we direct CPS Energy staff and outside counsel to prepare an update to the CEO's contract to reflect the compensation adjustments for approval by the Personnel Committee.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any?
I motion, he seconded.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Yes. Any discussion, Mr. Steen? Well, you can go first. I looked at you first.
Appropriately for our discussion and vote this afternoon, I'll focus on enterprise metrics, which should be of paramount importance in guiding any CEO compensation decision. And Madam Chair, this won't take long, but let me briefly recap how we got to where we are today. Suffice it to say that in recent years, CPS Energy wasn't doing well at all achieving metrics adopted over a decade ago. And so a process was initiated over my objections to discard these long-standing metrics and substitute in their place easier to achieve metrics. For 13 years, we've been guided by the eminent firm of Scott Madden, arguably #1 in the field of performance management consulting. But the Atlanta firm of Scott Madden was eased out and replaced by the Austin firm of H. Bailey Group, LLC. And it's notable that Scott Madden has been around over 40 years and has roughly 200 employees, while the H. Bailey Group is around 5 years old and is, the last time I checked, a one-person shop. Let's recall that for fiscal year 2023, CPS Energy's overall Tier 1 metric score was 10 of 16. We've called this CPS Energy's report card, so its grade was 63 or a D-. I was disappointed, but hoped CPS leadership would take this as a challenge to try harder and perform at a higher level. But regrettably, the response was to start softening expectations and watering down targets for fiscal year 2024, but it didn't stop there. When CPS Energy's fiscal year 2024 metric scores came in, they were as weak as those of fiscal year 2023, and it was then the decision was made to essentially jettison our 16 Tier 1 metrics and adopt in their stead 8 enterprise metrics. Only 2 of the 16 made it into the 8, and this is noteworthy. Of the 6 metrics CPS Energy failed to achieve in fiscal year 2023, only 1 appeared in the recasting. Remarkably, this major change in CPS Energy's metrics was implemented without a board vote. The board was merely solicited for feedback at our February 4th, 2024 board meeting. So now in setting our CEO's compensation today, we're considering a full year under the new metrics regime where expectations were softened, targets were lowered, and challenging metrics were tossed aside. And to my dismay, CPS Energy's report card still turned out badly. What really surprised me is that for fiscal year 2025, CPS Energy failed to meet its targets in 4 of the 8 enterprise measures, namely, and these are the 4, average customer outage duration, which we call SAIDI, plan availability, customer perception, and last, safety performance, or what's commonly known as RIR. To repeat for emphasis, for the 9 years I've been on the board, we've referred to our enterprise metrics as our report card. And in this regard, the results are quite disheartening. A 63 or D- for fiscal year 2023, a comparably anemic result for fiscal year 2024, and now a 50 or F for the fiscal year we're focused on today. One can try to paper it over with long, detailed presentations, but the result is distressing and should be intolerable to this board. While as might be expected, explanations or drivers as well as mitigations have been offered, but there's no getting around this lack of metric success. What does this report card have to do with the vote we're about to take on, which we're about to take on, adjusting our CEO's compensation? And the answer is a great deal. I appreciate that Rudy Garza is hardworking and diligent, but how can this board reward him with an annual salary increase of $30,000 or 4% when CPS Energy has just completed such a dismal year metrics-wise? There must be accountability for suboptimal performance, and the buck stops with our CEO. Therefore, I intend to vote against the proposed compensation adjustment. And finally, I respectfully ask General Counsel Shanna Ramirez to include this statement in full in the minutes of today's meeting. Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Steen. Mayor?
Oh, I appreciate Trustee Steen's comments, but, frankly, I disagree. The buck stops with the board. And I have sat here for the last several years and watched you consistently vote against our community's interests with respect to holding back from disconnecting people who can't afford to pay their light bill simply because a pandemic and a winter storm put them in arrears. I've watched you say no, despite our community supporting emission strategies and a long-term approach to our generation portfolio. I've seen you say no to investing in this utility so that we can stay ahead of the capacity needs of this region and of this state. I've seen you say no to investing in simple things like tree preservation and wires and poles. So frankly, Trustee Steen, if that's your sense of metrics for this organization, we would be in the same situation we were 4 years ago, driving the car just at the right speed, but firmly towards a cliff. And that is not the organization that I would be part of. That's why I have voted the way I have and why I have supported this leader who has done a great job with this organization. So respectfully, I totally disagree with your perspective. And frankly, so does this board, which is why you have consistently been voted against. And I'm glad that the buck stops with us because we're going to continue to move forward. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Trustee Gonzalez? Okay. I will just say my brief comments. As I said before, I believe our CEO has had, I know our CEO has had to meet an unprecedented and unheard of demand increase in the face of an unprecedented climate crisis and in the face of puzzling attempts by governments to attempt to undermine the thriving solar wind industry that has salvaged us in what would have been some very difficult situations. I don't think our expectations have been lowered, but I think they've been strengthened against these conditions. And metrics are important, but metrics, you have to think about metrics all the way through. Sadie, yeah, we had an incremental increase in the time of outages. That increase in the time of outages would have been huge if Mr. Garza had not taken such proactive steps on everything from generation planning to tree trimming. Was it maybe 4 minutes? 4-minute increase? It would have been catastrophic if we hadn't had some of the steps that he has led us to taking. I would not be here on this board if I did not believe in the CEO, and I do.
I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody. I just don't feel very good. So typically we have something more prepared. I own a small business, and I will tell you things are hard for consumers as well as small businesses. And I know every time we hear an increase, we're like, I wish we could get that increase. So I can empathize. But at the end of the day, I became a trustee where I was part of transition and change, and then we got disrupted. And disruption sometimes brings an opportunity. And I will tell you that with every vote, with every decision I've made as a trustee, even when I was chair and I'm back to just being a trustee, there were tough decisions, and those decisions, in my opinion, were carefully considered to maintain both affordable and grid resiliency. We don't want the lights off, but at the same time, we understand the cost of living is really hard. We just had a couple of individuals, and I get it. Insurance is a perfect example how hard it is right now for the average individual. Many don't even have a retirement plan or a 401k. So I can empathize that every 50 cents, every dollar that people are struggling to make it means today. And I will tell you that I personally, every decision we've made, I struggle with it because it's a balancing act to do what's right by the community and try to consider everyone in the community, and not everyone is in the same situation. I will also tell you, there's a lot of times I haven't agreed with Rudy. A lot of times I haven't agreed with him, and we've had some really tough conversations. And it's because just because I support him and I supported his CEO position, does not mean that I don't challenge him every day. And I do it because I represent my community. And even though I'm not an elected official, I do take to heart that not everyone is in the same situation, and I will continue to challenge Rudy every opportunity that I have if I believe he's not doing right. But we did go through an extensive process to redo how we evaluate him, and change is good. And so that change, again, went through a process. We have committees for anyone to deny that we just make it easy. I don't think so. I think it's getting harder nowadays to be a CEO. And so as far as I'm concerned, I did submit with his evaluation some areas of concern and improvement because, again, I may agree with the Personnel Committee, but I thought it was important that I noted that there are areas of improvement. Again, I don't know whether I can disclose it or not, but I think, again, there's definitely some 4 areas that I believe that we need to improve, and that will be noted in whatever formal process that we can, because, again, I may support, again, today's decision by the Personnel Committee, but I, again, remain grounded in the belief that leadership outcomes will be supported by strong governance systems. And I remain committed to working with my Board of Trustees and the future mayor and listening to everyone who comes before us and making those tough decisions on a daily basis on your behalf. So those are just my comments for today. And I'm so sorry that I don't feel very well, but I at least wanted to add some comments for today.
Thank you. Vice Chair Mackey? All right, roll call vote, please.
Vice Chair Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Trustee Steen? No. Mayor?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chair?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, we all gave our appreciations to the mayor at the last meeting. But
You don't have to say
we don't have to do it again, but thank you so much for all you've done. Thank you.
It's been a great privilege to serve on this board in an organization that's absolutely critical to the future of the city. I know these decisions are tough. I wish you very well in the future, but this organization is in a great position with great momentum, and I know it's going to continue. So thank you all for the privilege of being a part of this organization.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing your next steps.
Thanks.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
I second. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.